Welcome back to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of academia.edu, and today, wow, do we have a paper to reflect on? We're diving into O Livro dos Relatos, a Ayahuasca Discernida pelo Logovegetalismo, O Fim da Fuga, Primeiros Confrontos e Ruptura com o Autoengano, by Marcelo Apontes. This is a piece that, to be honest, asks us to sit with a lot more than just plant medicine or mystical visions. So just a reminder, as always, I'm here to share what's in this research, not to endorse it or offer medical advice. Okay, let's jump in. Let's start with what's really at the core. What's the big question Marcelo Aponte is asking? It's less about the ayahuasca itself, the Amazonian brew you may have heard of, and more about how do people confront or basically stop running from their own self-deceptions and patterns. Why does it matter? Because in his words, and in the words of the many people whose personal testimonies fill this work, spiritual experience isn't about running away from pain. It's about learning to sit with it, to integrate it, and to stop using rituals, substances, or even faith as an escape hatch. That's, wow, a provocative place to start, right? So, what exactly did Apontes do in this research? He gathered a variety of first-person stories, real accounts from folks who participated in private, small-group ayahuasca ceremonies, not commercial, not institutional, and honestly, not even aligning with the typical Brazilian ayahuasca syncretic religions. Instead, what emerged was something he terms Logovegetalismo, which, for clarity, is more like a toolbox or ongoing discipline than a finished doctrine. Each account is graded on a kind of ethical risk scale, like how much it challenges your comfort zone or confronts your own capacity for self-honesty, and organized by themes such as perseverance, relapse, faith, and pretty rough reckonings. Let me summarize some of the more striking findings or stories. Take Felipe, for example, who arrives at a ceremony feeling lost and burdened, hoping for a magical fix. What he gets instead, the medicine, brings up physical and emotional purging, a realization that support isn't about escaping pain, but being able to stand it. He receives comfort, yes, but only after the discomfort has been faced. Then there's Ricardo, who, with a strong evangelical background, confronts experiences that strip away his ability to pretend, a kind of enforced honesty. Or Marco, who cycles through relapse after relapse. He doesn't come out enlightened, but learns the grit of not giving up, even in absolute vulnerability. And let me pause there, because sometimes I wonder if resilience is actually just another word for, all right, let's try again tomorrow, you know? The methods, again, just to be clear, were deeply qualitative. Testimonies are carefully selected and openly filtered by the author's perspective. Instead of aiming for statistical truth, Apontes insists on existential truth, the kind of personal meaning that sticks with you and generates change in real life. It's less about doctrine, more about aftermath. Did something really shift in behavior, relationships, or self-understanding? If not, he'd say, you probably just had a fancy trip. And by the end, woo boy, Apontes pulls no punches. He argues that Logovegetalismo, his framework, shows us that the point isn't to get high on spirituality or collect some supernatural trophy. It's about ethical coherence. The only real miracle is being able to stop lying to yourself and to reconcile with difficult truths before the window closes. Is that spirituality or psychology or something in between? He says, well, sometimes the line doesn't matter if the result is more kindness, more clarity, more directness. Now, for you, the listener, what does all this mean? I think, at the very least, this paper, and remember, I'm presenting, not endorsing, invites us to examine whether we use any of our beliefs, rituals, or practices as protection from needed self-honesty. Are there things you're avoiding? Promises you keep rescheduling? People you block, not just on social media, but in your own psyche? Aponte says, the only true escape is actually to stop escaping. You know, sometimes when I read these accounts, I'm struck by how laundry and making coffee turn out to be as sacred as any incense or vision. Guess I probably think about coffee way too much. But in this research, it really is the practical care that matters most. All right, let's begin to wrap. The research leaves us with some pretty bracing questions. Not, did you have a vision? But did you change? Did you stop pretending? Did you pick up the phone? Did you open or close the right door at the right time? Apontes doesn't claim to have found ultimate answers. He's careful to say that all research is provisional and truth, especially in spirituality, is never absolute, but he does offer a route to more grounded, embodied courage. If you made it to the end of today's episode, maybe you're feeling inspired or possibly a little rattled. Honestly, either reaction is fair game. For me, the beauty of a work like Marcelo Aponte's is that it cuts through the fantasy of spiritual bypass and asks for actual, concrete lived change. Not easy, not instant, but undeniably real. Thanks for spending this time exploring the terrain between pain and honesty with me. This has been In Depth with Academia. And as always, keep asking, keep questioning, and maybe check your calendar for any truth appointments you've been avoiding. See you next time.